It's nutrition that changes lives. It's the sound of healthy, happy pets. Not just in your home, but in shelters across the country. Because feeding your pet Hills helps feed shelter pets. Science did that. Hills Pet Nutrition. Buy the bag that gives back. Visit hillspet.com/giveback or tap the banner to learn more.
Smoothie King's new lemonade lineup is here.
Lemonade, lemonade, the Smoothie King way.
Try a strawberry guava lemonade SK refresher.
Yum, yum, gotta get some.
Made with real fruit, real juice, and real energy.
Who's thirsty?
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. It's happening. Freedom-loving Americans are uniting at freedomsquare.com. Look, I know the people behind Freedom Square. They are wonderful people. I've known them for years. In fact, for over a decade. Freedomsquare.com is your patriotic portal to news and podcasts where you can personalize your dashboard for free. So listen carefully. If you need a resource library that contains thousands of documents that help shape our great land, freedomsquare.com. It's a business directory to connect consumers with freedom-loving American business owners. Spend your money with those that share your values. Business owners, register your business now. All the details are at freedomsquare.com. That's right, freedomsquare.com. And now Freedom Square is proud to announce that their forums venue is open and ready for freedom-loving Americans to jump into the conversation. I know these guys. For only $5 a month, you'll have 100% complete access to forums and business directory. Register now. Freedomsquare.com is designed to connect and unite freedom-loving Americans. Forums, resources, business directory, news, podcast, freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact thermometers are not accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Lucas Miles is with us. So I believe that it's either you believe in one God, the Shema, right? I am the Lord your God who delivered you from Egypt, or I am the Lord your God, I am one, as it says in Deuteronomy 3-5, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. Or you believe in many different types of gods, right? The pantheon of gods. And remember, the Romans, way back when, they had no problem with Paul or the apostles if they wanted to add Jesus to the pantheon.
Right.
It was the idea that there was a one God.
Yeah.
That there's a monotheistic, ubiquitous Hashem over all. Your thoughts on that, Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, specifically in Rome, which is a period of time that I really enjoy reading about and reading, original documents from, is that Christians were known as atheists during that period because they didn't believe in the pantheon of gods.
That's exactly.
They didn't adopt sort of this Olympic structure or Hellenistic structure of deities, and even if they, for the Roman just to accept Jesus as one of many wasn't a big deal, but for the Christian that was obviously an issue, and this is where a lot of persecutions, many of the persecutions in Rome, I think that we get a wrong idea that Romans were just constantly trying to kill Christians. It wasn't necessarily the case, but they were creating a lot of standard, kind of tests of religion that you had to demonstrate because they believed so much in the favor of this pantheon and these local deities that you had to sacrifice to them and worship them. And Christians could not obviously participate in that because to do so would be idol worship. It would be, a betrayal of the cross.
Second commandment.
Absolutely. And so it wasn't that they were necessarily targeting Christians, but Christians got brought into this because Rome didn't understand their faith very well, obviously, at the beginning. But they were called atheists because they wouldn't worship all these other gods. And this is where you have the great, early Christians like Justin Martyr and others and Jerome that wrote these great apologies, these defenses of the Christian faith, showing that Christianity is actually the thing that brings the best, good into the world, and that it is the answer for all these injustices that are out there. And that's how it won over the Western world. The problem is that wokeism is rewriting that. It's providing this new kind of revisionist history that is tearing down those arguments. And most Christians are not actually capable and qualified to make a strong, stance about their faith. And this is why it's so important that we get in the Word, right? That we are reading it, that we're knowing it, so that we can defend our faith in those ways.
And so when people say they're an atheist, again, I think atheism is like a psyop from Satan. They really don't believe in nothing. Something is their God. And it could be the God of earth worship.
Yes.
Anti-racism.
So it might be themselves. It might be aliens, right? In today's world, it might be the earth. It might be the divine, the spirit. Some sort of sort of esoteric framework that they have. And what we're seeing right now, if you go on maybe an app like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you search modern paganism, you are going to get some of the craziest videos that you've ever seen of people dressed up, performing Hellenistic rituals, trying to go after the repeat and revitalize faith of the Druids and different things.
This
is a real thing.
Yeah,
it's massively expanding.
It's not as big as other forms like pride paganism.
And that's a whole nother, right? So we have all these different variants of it, and the way in which it has sort of captured this. So yes, we see this, whether it be queer paganism or some sort of more historical framework that's trying to be revised. It's all though the same thing, right? It's being driven by this, and that is an anti-God, anti-Bible, anti-Jesus, anti-creator of the world. It's a rebellion against God. It's what happened in the garden. It's what happened again at the Tower of Babel. It is this continuous rebellion that man becomes obsessed with to go against our creator.
And that really is the tension point here. The spiritual aspect of this cannot be mistaken, which is there's an enemy who comes to lie, steal, cheat, and destroy, and all these counterfeit ways are ways to try to keep distance from our creator.
Yeah, and look, this is an interesting thing, and I don't know if this can be very popular for everybody, but as the church has expanded and really become more of kind of Christian business in many industries,
yes.
It's the church. Look, it's obviously without a doubt, it's the most humanitarian. It gives more in humanitarian aid than any other organization. I mean, we Christians are really champions of that, but to some degree, I think some of that has done us a disservice. And here's what I mean by that: is that I believe that one of the benefits of actually being part of the church was the benefit of community. And we have sort of created this world where everybody gets the benefit of Christian community, whether or not they belong to Christ or not, or whether they belong to the church. It's sort of like, having, intimacy before you're married. What reason is it for the guy to get married at that point? And exactly. I think we have people out there that are receiving the benefits of Christianity without actually having that real, draw to be led into an intimate relationship, a personal relationship with Jesus. And I think it it delays that for some people.
Yeah, and they're not... I don't know if they're actually born again.
Yeah.
That's a real question. So now I want to talk about what the church can do about it. So we'll get to that in just a second, and what the call to action is for Christians and for pastors in particular. Email us directly, freedom@charliekirk.com. Woke Jesus is the book by Lucas Miles. Yeah, there it is, right up on screen. Get your copy today, Woke Jesus, and subscribe to our podcast. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? What are you not doing that you wish that you were? What would you do if you felt better? The answer is likely a lot. That's why I want to tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight back against pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it's been incredibly effective and even life-changing for so many people. Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll know if it's working because you'll feel the difference all day, every day. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. Go on to ReliefFactor.com right now. That's ReliefFactor.com, or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That is 1-800-4RELIEF. Here's to less missing out and more living life with Relief Factor, ReliefFactor.com. Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Did you know that 80% of adults take supplements to feel our best, right? Well, one thing your dog can't do without you is improve their diet or health to feel their best. That is why I believe Rough Greens could dramatically help your best friend by adding what is missing to their diet like you do. Rough Greens is helping thousands and thousands of dogs feel better and live longer, including my dog, Mr. Briggs, who loves it. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who created Rough Greens, is also an airborne ranger and Green Beret, an amazing background. He loves dogs and is on a mission to help as many as he can. Dog food is dead, and Rough Greens supplements your dog's food with existing vitamins and minerals, omega oils, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and antioxidants. Dr. Black is offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag, so fetch your free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover shipping. Don't change your dog's food. Just go to roughgreens.com/Kirk, ruffgreens.com/Kirk.
Smoothie King's new lemonade lineup is here.
Lemonade, lemonade, the Smoothie King way.
Try a strawberry guava lemonade SK refresher.
Over ice,
A power up in a cup.
energize.
Or a blueberry lemonade smoothie.
Blend it up in your cup.
Made with real fruit, real juice for a real sipping good summer.
Yum, yum, gotta get some.
Smoothie King's new lemonade lineup, all for a limited time.
Who's thirsty?
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Hi, I'm Lauren and I work for Meijer. People always ask, why do I shop there? It's because I can get great quality and value in one stop. Like this week's hottest deals on locally grown asparagus and select cuts of pork. Plus, I can earn 50 points per gallon of gas pumped at any Meijer Express through June 1st with M-Perks. Meijer has all I need in just one stop, and the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Networks make it possible to share data from lots of places, like a bird sanctuary.
Good eye. There is a typo. Thanks.
But to make them powerful enough to deliver new opportunities at the edge, you need CDW and Aruba. CDW experts can help design and implement an Aruba Edge Services platform, which unifies, secures, and automates network environments everywhere, so you can translate data into innovation.
Sorry, do you mind? This is confidential.
Aruba makes visibility at the edge possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/Aruba.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology.
their own anointing. It is, and what I mean by that is that they have. I haven't run a 40 and,
watched film.
Right, do anything. It is part of this. And I think that in our culture, the way it is, there's so many things that are pulling on pastors. Pastors expected to be, travel agents and counselors and attorneys for people and all these things that they, get pushed to be. And I think that, it's easy to lose sight, but you have to protect that first and foremost. The second thing that I think is missing in the church, and this I'm sure there's going to be some people who would want to debate me on this, but in Ephesians 4, before you see this mission of to train up God's people for works of service, it's not specifically the pastor only that's doing that. It's what I would call the fourfold or the fivefold ministry. We see apostle, prophet, pastor, teacher, evangelist. Now, I'm not going to sit here and debate whether or not there's apostles today. That we're not going to use your show for that platform, right? Unless you invite me back specifically on that topic, I won't do that to you.
I couldn't care less.
Okay, but I do believe that without a doubt, the church is called to be apostolic. It is called to be prophetic in the sense. It is called to be evangelistic. It is called to be pastoral. It is called to be, a teaching. Have a teaching component to it. A healthy church has all of those. What's the apostolic do? It advances. It moves the gospel forward. It takes it from, point A to point B to going into new areas. What's prophetic do? It speaks truth, into areas that are need to have those things. So many people that call themselves pastors are truly only doing the pastor work. They're shepherding the sheep or they're teaching, but they're not willing to do the apostolic job of dividing doctrine and setting the record straight on what does Scripture say and what does it not say. They're not willing to do that prophetic job of really calling out things, and being that voice that maybe somebody doesn't necessarily want to hear, but it needs to be said. And we have watered down the church to one job only, and that is the pastoral, when in fact it is supposed to have all of these functions. And again, I'm not going to say offices, but all of these attributes at minimum present. And I think that that's something, regardless if you're coming from a Reformed background or Catholic background or evangelical background, I think that we should be able to embrace that the attributes of those things should be present in the body of Christ today.
I completely agree with that. And you say this is your job. I don't think every pastor would necessarily agree with that. Is it okay if a pastor offends his congregation?
I think it's okay if the word of God offends a congregation, right? I mean, look, as a pastor, you're going to offend people. I've offended plenty of people. I've had plenty of people leave my church because
I'm being somewhat tongue-in-cheek.
Right, I understand completely, right? We need to be unafraid. It is that we have so many people that are kind of that Gideon in the wine press, that are hiding, that they're afraid of they're going to say something to set you off and trigger their audience. And look, I'm more concerned about ignoring truth and having to face the Lord than I am about saying truth and having to face my people. And in fact, I think loving them is speaking truth to them.
So I want to get into now just current events here. Your opinion on this upcoming election, Donald Trump v. Biden versus all of this, as someone who loves the word, who loves the Bible, who loves liberty, how do you plan to vote?
Yeah.
And how should other Christians vote? And how should they think about voting?
And let me say to start with, you didn't ask me this ahead of time, so you don't know what my answer is going to be, right? And without a doubt, I believe that there is one answer for this election, and that is Donald Trump. And President Trump, we have seen already his time in office. The world didn't end. There were no new wars. The economy was going great. My bank account was probably doing a little better even than it is right now. And there was many reasons to vote for him. And you've done a great job addressing some of those over the years. He has also been the most pro-Christian president, I think, that we've ever had. And repealing the Johnson Amendment from day one, being able to, first president I can ever remember who was speaking about persecuted Christians and actually addressing that. I can't remember any other president ever addressing persecuted Christians the way that he did. Yes, absolutely. You had to go to March for Life. And so I think this is an easy call. This is a good versus evil election. Is Donald Trump perfect? No, of course not. None of us are. But do I think he has a handle on the tyranny that we're facing today as a nation? Do I think he has a handle on what's going on in the world and the way in which elites are trying to use power to really control the masses? I think he absolutely does, and I think his policies have already been proven. I think we're going to see them work again.
I want to play cut 75 here. Jill Biden agrees with you. It is good versus evil. Let's play cut 75.
I've raised alarm bells among other Republicans about the danger of a second Donald Trump term, and I'm genuinely fearful for what that could look like. But consistently, we're seeing poll after poll that are showing Trump beating your husband outside of the margin of error. Are you fearful of what a second Trump term could look like?
Or a third, as Donald Trump says. So I believe that Americans are going to choose good over evil.
Yes.
Woe to those who call good evil and evil good.
Yes, and look, I mean, to some degree, I think that she's got a little bit of a prophetic statement, because I do believe that Americans are going to choose good over
God
evil.
is speaking through Dr. Jill Biden.
He's spoken through donkeys before, right? We can make this work.
Balaam's donkey in
right.
Numbers, right?
It wouldn't be the first time. And so, yes, this is a good versus evil election, and I think without a doubt, Americans do need to do the right thing. And is Donald Trump going to solve every problem? No. Is the job of the church done after Donald Trump is elected? No. We've got so much work to do to win back this nation for Christ.
It might buy us some time.
But it gives us a little bit of a reprieve.
So what do you have to say then to Christians? And they come to my event and they say, but he's allegedly an adulterer, lived a colorful life. I don't like the way he talks. I get those objections at only from very, very committed Christians.
Yeah.
Does that like that? This is a group of folks that are incredibly devout. And not all, by the way, there's super devout people that don't share this, like us, right?
Yeah.
But there's a hesitancy, and they say, I can't vote for him. How should they think about it? Should they prioritize his behavior or his actions and policies?
So, statements like that actually to some degree are some evidence that we have in fact lived in historically a Christian nation, right? Because there's an assumption that a candidate is actually going to hold to Christian values, right? So we have people that, that in of itself kind of gives some validity to that. And so we have to, come to terms. Let's just set aside Donald Trump's faith for a second. I him personally. I've not met him personally and those things. And so let's set that aside. Let's just look at his policies. We have a track record. We've seen him in office. We've seen what he's done. All these statements of he's going to blow up the world and lead a nuclear war, those are hollow now, right?
Too, yeah.
Because we've already have evidence that none of that happened.
And the world is actually blowing up.
And the world is blowing up now, right? So we know that those things are hollowed arguments. But when we look at these other things, the reality is that there's might come a time in America's history, I pray it doesn't, where we don't have any sort of Christian choice on the ballot. And so how are we going to handle that then? Are we able to go through and say, is one better than another? Is one Caesar better than another Caesar in this regard? And I think the answer absolutely is yes. And look, to have a president that at all identifies and supports Christian values, that continues to honor God, continues to honor Jesus, continues to honor pastors and prayer, we're actually talking with his people right now about the possibility of trying to get him on the American Pastor Project for one of our calls. And I believe that pastors need to hear, from President Trump on these issues. We need to hear from any world leader, on these issues that are facing the church, so they are aware of our concerns, and that we also have a chance to impact them and influence them as well, as they are fighting for all of our behalf. So I think these are empty arguments. I think they're foolish arguments. Of course, we all would love to have, that Christian prince, but I'm not waiting for a Christian prince. I already have one. His name's Jesus, right? And so we need the best option for the American people right now, and we only have one option, and that's Donald Trump.
I completely agree. And the question is, can we get enough Christians to prioritize the good, the true, the beautiful, the nation, liberty, self-government over their hesitancy, their potential issues of Donald Trump's behavior? I also I have very little patience for it when it just comes to the fundamental life or death type issues. Donald Trump is all that stands between a pagan regime basically permanently engulfing the country.
But look, so this is what a lot of people aren't aware of. How much of Christian music, how much of Christian universities, how much of Christian publications have been infiltrated by leftist ideology already, and that they are pushing this. And so the Christians that are out there that aren't as engaged as you or I, they're getting a subscription to Christianity Today and these other publications that are essentially being used as propaganda centers for a lot of these ideas. And look, there's good people at all these institutions and publications, but I think as a whole, a lot of them have been impacted very negatively. My previous book, The Christian Left, goes into all of that. And look, we have seen this, and so it's no surprise we're where we are today, because millions of dollars have been spent trying to convince Christians of this very idea to prevent them from voting for figures like this.
Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. I want to tell you about roughgreens.com. Also check out Woke Jesus, everybody, by Lucas Miles. Did you know that 80% of adults take supplements so we'll feel our best, right? I believe Rough Greens could dramatically help your best friend by adding what's missing to their diet like you do. Rough Greens is helping thousands of dogs feel better and live longer, including my dog who loves it. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who created Rough Greens, is an airborne ranger in Green Beret, an amazing background. He loves dogs and is on a mission to help as many as he possibly can. Dog food is dead. Rough Green supplements your dog's food with essential vitamins and minerals, omega oils, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and antioxidants. Dr. Black is offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag to get back their energy, improve their elimination, get rid of itching, scratching, achy joints, and bad breath. Fetch your free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover shipping. Do not cover your dog's food. Do not change your dog's food. Just add Rough Greens right now. Roughgreens.com/Kirk. That is ruffgreens.com/KIRK. Omega oils, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and antioxidants. Dr. Black is offering a free Jumpstart trial bag. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who created it, is a wonderful partner of this program. And so check it out right now, roughgreens.com/KRK. That is roughgreens.com/Kirk. Check it out right now. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. We're number 9 right now in Apple News. Thank you guys for the support. We are going to continue here with Lucas Miles, who does a great job. One of the most important voices in Christianity today. Get the pun? In Christianity today.
I see what you did there.
And we have a big event coming up in July that we're going to start promoting soon. But first, it's Detroit. So get your tickets there and prep the trailer for that, guys. I want to play that through the Rumble break. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, I want to play the trailer here. For all you watching on rumble.com, get your tickets right now to the People's Convention coming up to Detroit. You might be there, right, Lucas?
I'm hoping to, yes.
Let's play cut 1, please. They are counting on your surrender. If you give up, they win. But what if we look back and we realize we were just inches away from victory, and that's when we decided to give up?
Join us and thousands of American patriots for the summer convention that all are invited to.
You're going to hear how we're going to win in 2024.
With the biggest speakers in the movement, featuring President Donald J. Trump, Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump Jr., Vivek Ramaswamy, Governor Kristi Noem, Dr. Ben Carson, Tulsi Gabbard, Steve Bannon, Candace Owens, Laura Trump, Senator Rick Scott, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Congressman Matt Gaetz, Ben Johnson, Jack Posobiec, Lee Zeldin, Congressman E.R. Craig, Brandon Tatum, and more. June 14th through 16th.
2024 is our final battle.
In Detroit, Michigan.
The great silent majority is rising like never before.
Join us for the People's Convention.
This is a new ball game, everybody. You send a message. We play to win. Okay, get your tickets right now, tpaction.com/peoples. And so we hope to see you there.
I hope to be there. Yeah, it looks amazing. Looks amazing.
Yeah, so the marching orders for Christians right now in this election year, what would you in the ideal like to see from the church? The ideal.
I think that you have to have one foot in the local and one foot in the national conversation. You know, look, not every pastor is doing tons of interviews. I mean, I did 500 interviews last year on major publications and those things. And I understand that that's a rarity, you know, for a lot of people, but we have to at least be aware of what's happening at a national level. We have to be able to have those conversations because your people are watching the news. They're involved in this. You have to be able to answer those things. Anytime there's a major world event, I'm addressing that usually is what my staff calls the pre-message. You know, I'm getting up there. I might have a topic that I'm teaching on that Sunday, but I'm going to take a little time and I'm going to address that to my church. You know, I've been, and look, I'm saying these things not just as a traveling circuit speaker. I'm a senior pastor of a ministry. I preach almost every single Sunday, you know, at our church, based in South Bend, Indiana. And we've seen, you know, the importance of this with these issues. There's also, you have to be involved in the local. You have to, know what's going on at your school board, know what's going on at your county politics, all of these things. Get involved in that. Maybe you have some people in your ministry that you can help raise up to run for office. Maybe you need to run for office and to be able to assist this. And I think that we have to be able to do that. We also have to answer some of these big questions that people have. I mean, look at the millennial and Gen Z. They have questions about the environment. They have questions about sexuality and gender and marriage and all these things. We need to show them how Scripture speaks to these things and actually provides a better solution than what the world offers. Instead of just discounting them and calling them stupid, you know, we need to answer them. You do such a great job at your events when you have banter back and forth with that, you know, doing that specifically.
Lucas Miles continues. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com. Get your tickets to Detroit, Michigan, tpaction.com/peoples. Get your tickets right now. Okay, everybody, welcome back. So then there's the other part of this.
Yes.
Which is there's the pastor that says don't get involved, but then there's also the pastor like this, the false white gospel, where they say we must reject Christian nationalism.
Yes.
How should we think about that term?
So I was really hoping that my take on Christian nationalism would have taken over the nation and everybody.
Then let's do it. This is the time.
So look, I think that the term Christian nationalist. I know that there's people that have embraced it and they've said, if that's what you want to call me, then that's what I am. And yeah, I want God to take over the country and everything else. And I understand that, and I understand the case for that. But I don't think that we need other monikers for being Christians other than Christian disciple, believer. I'm okay with conservative Christian because we have so many that are not conservative Christians,
yes.
that or biblical
it's
Christian,
like a denomination,
yes, that you have to kind of say that. But this idea that there is a false white gospel, I mean, this is straight out. James Cone could have written this book today, right? It's just a regurgitation of that. It is that we have to kill the white Jesus. We have to do this. That it's the oppressor versus oppressed Marxist framework, except for instead of proletariat versus bourgeoisie, it is now the white theology versus black Christian or this black gospel or white gospel. And look, when you look at Christianity started in diversity. How many Augustine, first of all, like from Northern Africa, I mean, probably the most influential person outside of New Testament thinkers. Yeah. Yes. And this is, I mean, how much did he write and shape what we know of the church and Christianity today, of being able to interpret a lot of these New Testament scriptures. And he was a person of color.
Yes.
And so many of early Christian thinkers were people of color from different parts of the world. The gospel has never been a white gospel, and nobody's preaching a white gospel. Maybe some, backwoods KKK group or somebody someplace.
I haven't met him.
But I haven't met him yet, right? Exactly. And so, this is a straw man argument that Wallace is using here. It's completely ridiculous. I think that the true Christian nationalists, and this was my take, the true Christian nationalists are the Christian left, because there is no difference right now between say, thinkers like Brandon Robertson, the kind of TikTok progressive, LGBT preacher, and the Biden administration's view on gender, sexuality, open borders, socialism. They have identical doctrines and dogmas from state and church on the progressive church. They have truly bowed the knee to the state, and they are the true Christian nationalists, I think. Now, I understand that term has all sorts of different definitions for people, but I think if you look at historically what happened in Germany, who were the Christian nationalists? It was the progressive church. It was not the believing church that Bonhoeffer and others were part of. It was the Nazified German church that bowed the knee to the Third Reich. That's exactly what we're seeing happen right now today. And I'm not saying that they're all Nazis, but I'm saying that they are bowing their knee to a false agenda of the state, and they have left Christian doctrine, at the door of the church.
Having traveled the country and been to a lot of churches, you spoke at one in Mesa last night?
Yeah, I was in Mesa last night. I didn't speak, but it was special service. We were there as a special guest. So yeah.
Are you optimistic?
I am optimistic. I'm always optimistic, Charlie. Look, I don't know how to.
Temperament?
It's how I'm wired. But optimism doesn't mean stick your head in the sand. It means we've got a lot of work to do, and I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to, put in time and have the conversations with people. This is why I write. This is why I work, as hard as we do. My wife and I, we don't have children. We've had, some challenges in that area, and we've dedicated our lives to the sharing of the gospel. This is something that we're both involved in, and she's, here with me in the studio, as you know, and this is our life's mission, our life's calling. And is the church always going to thrive in America? I don't know. It faltered in Europe. We see these monuments that we call churches and cathedrals in Europe that are beautiful, but they're a reminder of a place where the church was once alive, and now it's dead. And I'm afraid that if it happens here, there's not going to be any beautiful buildings left to even know. Was that a bowling alley? Was it a strip club? I don't know. It might have been a church. I don't know. There's nothing distinctive about the church here in America if we don't carry the gospel first and foremost.
The book is Woke Jesus. You also have the Christian Left, right?
Yeah, Christian Left.
I have that one at home too.
Yes.
So, and I know someone who really enjoyed it. That I enjoyed it too. But it's been a while since I've flipped through that. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com. You're also coming down to our Believers Summit.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, in July. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's late July. We're going to really be ramping up promotion for that in late July. where we have Lucas Miles and really big speakers. It's our Believers Summit. The theme is Here I Am, Haneni, which is said 7 times throughout the Old Testament scriptures, always during a time of choosing.